I love this idea of talking about getting network marketers onto podcasts, because I think this is something that it's kind of like a industry that no one's really like looked into. Like, if I'm in network marketing, how can I get on a podcast? Like, we don't see that very often unless they have like created their own podcast. Then it's normal for them to be on other people's podcasts. Authentic influencers, I am so excited to have Kelly Glover on our podcast today. She has been helping entrepreneurs be on podcasts and been working with them in media. She actually started in podcasting in 2007, and she has her own syndicated radio show, and she's from Australia. So how fun is that? So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yes. So I love this idea of talking about getting network marketers onto podcasts, because I think this is something that it's kind of like a industry that no one's really like looked into. Like, if I'm in network marketing, how can I get on a podcast? Like, we don't see that very often unless they have like created their own podcast. Then it's normal for them to be on other people's podcasts. So what do you say to people, like, if they've never been on a podcast before? What are the things that they do or they need to be doing so that way they can get on people's podcasts?
Yeah. So I would say, hey, I want to be on a podcast is about step 5 or 6. And you need to go all the way back to the beginning to get your ducks in a row so you make the most out of it. So what you need to do before you start pitching, it's one of those things. It's just a lot of busy work. It's not necessarily hard, but it is a long-term strategy. So you would need to make sure you do a whip around and have a look at, what's my social media look like? Is my personal brand on point? Do I have my messaging right? Do I have my one sheet? Do I have my headshots? Do I have my talking points? So it's all the upwork prep that you have. Then you put it into the pitch. Then you get booked. Then you need to nail the interview. And then you need to do the, on the other side of the interview, the sort of advertising or promotional work. So there's a little bit of but it is a linear step-by-step process that you absolutely can achieve, but it's having those ducks in a row before you go out and pitch. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time looking for shows, vetting shows, pitching shows, and then wondering why you're not getting booked. So having those elements in advance, I think, is super helpful.
Gotcha. So as you were talking about your personal brand and things like that, that's things that we've talked about a lot on this podcast, but you mentioned a one sheet. So that's probably something that they don't know what that is. So what would you put on a one sheet? How would they go about creating one of those?
Yeah, so there's 2 elements. There's your online press kit, which is an extended everything that you want everybody to read, a home for resources. And then the one sheet is the Marie Kondo version of that. So it's on one page and it's you in a snapshot on one page. So if I, as a producer, go and have a look, I can figure out who you are, who you're talking to, what you're talking about, if you know what you're speaking about. So it's really getting everything about you in 30 seconds. So it has to be on point. So it would have your headshot on there. It would have your name in big letters. And I know that sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people make a one sheet that don't have their name on it. So I don't actually know who it's for. And then say 5 examples of questions and 5 examples of talking points, plus how we can reach you. And then of course that would be in your brand design, your brand colors, a nice layout that suits you. So it's really, who is this person? Who are they speaking to? What value are they bringing to the audience? What are they talking on? And all it is a door to the next, am I interested in going to the next step to vetting this person? So when you pitch and get booked on podcast, every step of the way is a door in front of you and you have to get through that door, get through the door, get through the door. And the one sheet is another door for, okay, yep, I'm ready to go and vet them. Or I'm ready to look at their website. I'm ready to go to the next step.
So you've probably seen a lot of one sheets and a lot of people come to you and talk to you about like getting on people's podcasts or on your podcasts and things like that. So do you have any stories of like really what not to do.
Yeah, I think people just get excited and want to put everything in the kitchen sink on their one sheet, but it's really an exercise in paring it back. So I think that, how everyone puts the credibility markers on there, those seals of this show, that show, HuffPost. To me, I'm a bit like, meh, who cares? So I would just leave that off there, and because at that point, they just want to know your talking points. So if I want to see where you've been, the next step I'll go to is I'll have a look at your website, and then I'll listen to interviews you've done myself. So I think the mistake is making it like an advertising board, but it's not, and it's not an advert, it's informational, it's a resource. So I think of just flipping your mindset on that, and it's about the content and the presentation as opposed to, hey, I've written an article in HuffPost. Well, who hasn't? You know what I mean? If the answer is so what, who cares, leave it off. What's different?
Gotcha. I love that. I love that. And saying how they are standing out from everybody else doing really the same thing that everyone else is doing. They have to have that one thing that makes them different.
Yeah, if it's I've been on HuffPost, I've been on Fox News. You know how you see all those little cool logos that look awesome, but they really don't, unless you were on the Oprah show and had an episode to yourself, it's a bit so what, who cares? And it sounds harsh, but just think of it if it came across your email, what your reaction would be. Test it that way. And then and then when you take things, if you remove that from your one sheet, you'll realize, yeah, I'm not missing it. It's making no difference. It actually wouldn't have gotten me across the line anyway. And then you can move forward. It's pretty great.
Gotcha. So what are some reasons why people even want to be on podcasts? Because this is, like I said, a new concept for a lot of our listeners. So what are some reasons that people actually would want to do it?
So I think the first thing is, like we were saying, credibility. We were talking about credibility markers from having a little HuffPost logo or whatever it is, but actually being interviewed on a podcast, I think, is a lot more credibility than that, because not everybody has it and it's specific. So it's authority, credibility. It helps build your reputation. It helps you get known. It helps you have real influence, not just the word influencer, but actual influence for people to take action to do things. And it also strengthens your personal brand. So it's a way to communicate your expertise, but amplify your message as well. So people talk about amplification a lot of the time, but that's just making something louder, making something bigger. And if the message you have isn't thought out and what you have is something value to say, it's just going to make that so much bigger and really reveal that you may not know what you're talking about or have all the things that you're saying. So it really is important to have that up front. The other thing is it's access to audiences for exposure that have already been curated. They're honestly quite niche and quite established as well. So I think that I'm speaking one-to-one to an audience that somebody else has shepherded and put together for years and years and years. I look at podcasting as being a huge honor. Like, I feel so lucky to be a guest on someone else's podcast and they've picked me. So I think of looking at it in that way as well. A lot of this is about how you frame it in the mindset. So you've got your expert status, you've got your access to the audience, you've got your exposure, and then it's relationship building. It's that high-end networking and with the host as well as the audience. So don't overlook the host. Some people think, I want to get the biggest audience, I want the most people, I want the people to buy my stuff. Or is it having the host in your corner and access to their audience beyond the listeners? Because that host has clients, that host has other people in their network, not just the people that are listening to the show. And then I probably should pause. There's another about 5 or 6 I could mention because I really do believe in podcasts, but it's not the Kelly show. So back to you.
No, I really, really like that, because all of those ideas are things that, like, that's what network marketers are looking for. They're looking for, like, how can I get myself in front of a different audience, and how can I do all those things? And really, podcasting is a great way to do that. I love that you talked about how it's like getting in front of an audience that the host has, like, shepherded. I love that analogy, because that's totally true. Because if, like, you have credibility now in my audience because I have credibility with my audience, and now they're listening to you and like, oh, well, if Brooke trusts her, then I should trust her too. And that's the kind of credibility you get.
Yeah, it's a warm introduction because you have, assuming most podcasts are a weekly podcast, right? 52 episodes a year. They've only got 52 spots, and I'm one of the 52. So for hosts are getting pitched all the time, hundreds of pitches, sometimes thousands, depending on the show. So to be chosen as one of those 52, and by you saying, yes, I believe in Kelly, I'm introducing you to her, you're my audience, I wouldn't introduce someone who I didn't know, like, and trust, believe has something to teach you. That is huge. It is a warm introduction. And they've already thought, okay, well, she's okay with us. I'll listen to what she says. So
Right.
I think that it is really, like I said, it's, yeah, don't, I think podcasts have a little bit of a reputation of being a small, so what, who cares? But I think it's the opposite. I think it is a big honor. And if you think of it that way, it changes everything.
Yeah, it totally does. It totally does. So if someone was interested in creating their own podcast, what are some of the things that you would say for them to do? Like what, maybe steps like 1, 2, 3, of what they should do.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to do their own podcast, I would just tell you about something called Pod Fade up front. And that's where everybody gets excited about being on a podcast. They get all the gear, they do all this stuff, they set it up, they spend all this time and then realize, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work, and kind of run out of steam, which I totally get. It's like joining up that gym membership, going for 3 days in the first week and then never going again. So I would suggest, and this is something we say at the Talent Squad, is practice in private before you go public. So just get everything ready and have a little crack at it and test it for yourself, and maybe do some, how you can do a pilot episode? So you could do a few run through episodes to yourself to see, is this something that I can do long term? Because maybe it's not a 52 episode once a week thing. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's, I'm thinking of Netflix and binging. That's not what I mean. Batching. Maybe it's batching and doing 12 episodes a quarter and doing it that way. So have a go so you know what's going in on it before you even buy all the tech for it. See if it's something you're into and then commit. So it's having that little sampler before diving in and then having all this equipment, and then, or putting some out and your audience is excited, and then you let them down by never following it up again.
Yeah. And I know
it's not sexy. What I've just said is not sexy, but it's the truth.
But it's true.
and it will save you. And it'll either be like, yes, I love this, or actually I thought it was going to be 52. Now it's 12. And then you put it out, but you put it out consistently. So you're still winning. This is a way to win.
Yes, for sure. And I know for me, when I started my podcast, I had this idea of like, oh, I should start a podcast. And then I just kept thinking, I'm like, oh, it's going to take so much work. Oh, I can't do this. And then I've learned to batch. Batching has been something that has helped me a ton. So like all of my solo episodes that I do, I'll do like for an entire quarter, I do it in like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fine. And when you do the test run, you'll know pretty quickly. You'll figure that out. So I say, yeah, just do a little test run beforehand, see how you go. And with regards to the tech, I think using that word even scares people a bit. You can get a mic set up for less than $100. So, which is fine. And you can use hosting platforms such as Libsyn for $5, $10, $15 a month. So it is absolutely affordable. It is a quick turnaround. But I think just knowing what you want before you commit to that is just a little bit helpful.
Yeah. So let's talk about promoting podcasts. So you talk a little bit about like after you're on an interview with somebody, you want to promote it, but I would guess it's the same as if you were doing your own podcast of how you would want to promote your own stuff out to people. What are like the best ways to do that?
Yeah. So there's pre-promotion. I think there's 3 stages to promotion. The first part would be I've been booked on the show, and then you can talk about getting excited about that. You can start releasing it to your audience a little bit. And then there's the behind the scenes of when you're recording it, because everybody loves to see someone with headsets and a microphone and, hey, I've recorded this. And then there's hey, it's coming out now. Here's the show. And I think you always need to be respectful of the host and their revelation. So you might record something on Tuesday in January. It might not come out till July. So just know what the timeline is. And if they've put out, often the host will put out graphics. So share what they've provided and then always tag them and use their hashtags and be very generous with that. So if you've been on a show, it's your responsibility to put out on whatever platforms you're on. People are on different platforms, whether that be LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. You can put it to your newsletter and put a little promo in there. You can also put some of the elements in and make those little, those 60 seconds where you lay it over audiograms. Are you familiar with audiograms? So you like pull a little bit, it's almost like a trailer. So you can do that as well. So it depends on how far you want to go, but a podcast then becomes a piece of material that you can use for your own content and pull. Maybe you said an amazing quote. You can pull a quote that you've said from somebody else's podcast and make an Instagram post out of that. And then that's promoting their show and you at the same time.
That's awesome. And that's what we do here with our podcast too. We pull out, different quotes and things like that. And really we reuse them a ton. So like whenever anyone's following us on Instagram, there's lots of quotes of things that I've said and it's pulled from either our podcast or other podcasts that I've been on. And I love using it in different ways to create content, because that's the thing that's so hard sometimes, is that like, you're like, okay, I have to come up with something. What do I do? But when you have a bunch of podcasts to pull from, it actually makes creating content a lot easier.
Yeah, not only that, but you can quote the host. It doesn't just have to be you as well. So if you pulled a quote of the host, pulled a graphic of the host, and then pushed it out there, imagine how much they'll love you for promoting something that they said on their show to your audience as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for that. And then you just put it in your social media cycle. And because podcasts are evergreen, you just push it out forever and ever. And then, like you said, with content, it's the gift that keeps on giving, especially if it's across multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other great thing about podcasts and promotion is it shows up in SEO in their show notes. So you can share that link and even put the link in your own emails. How many emails do we send out? Hundreds a week, thousands sometimes. If you've got, hey, I was on X show recently in your signature, someone might click on that and listen to a little bit, or even just an audiogram, and that's a promo as well.
Yeah, I love all of that. That's so good. All right. Well, do you have like one last tip that you want to share with our listeners?
One last tip for getting on up. I would say for podcast. Yeah, I would. I did speak about tech, and I would just say, if you are going to invest in something, invest in a microphone and headphones, and you can do that for less than $100.
And I think like when I first got started, they had like a package on Amazon that it was like a podcasting package,
There's all kinds of stuff. And then it's a bit, you'll start upgrading a bit. I think this is my 4th microphone, and I still use inexpensive ones because I travel with them. But it's like upgrading cars. I think I started with an ATR. No, I started with a Blue Yeti. Then I moved up to an ATR 2100, and now I'm on a Sennheiser. So it becomes fun.
Yes.
And don't be afraid of the sound of your own voice. That is what you sound like, and it's what you've sounded like your whole life, and everybody loves it. Don't worry.
Exactly. That is something I had to go over to. Like, I still have a hard time listening to my own podcast. So
yeah. Risk it for the biscuit. Just go for it.
That's right. I love it. Well, if people are interested in finding out more about you and how you can help them, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
kellyglover.com. That's KELLYGLOVER.com. I would love for you to visit me.
Awesome. Okay. We'll make sure we get that in the show notes for you. And thank you so much for being on here. This is so fun to talk about podcasting on a podcast.
It is super. Yes. I'm an evangelist of podcasts, and I could talk for days and days and days. So thank you so much. Thank you, Brooke. I really appreciate it.